So what is the meaning of resilience? That's a great question, and actually quite a difficult question. So if you look at the research that's been done by psychologists out there, you'll see a whole lot of different definitions of resilience. There doesn't tend to be a consensus on it being one thing. What we tend to agree on is that it's made up of a number of different components. And in fact, our team of psychologists did a meta-analysis of the research that was out there to try and work out, exactly answer that question. What we came to were 4 essential elements of resilience, 4 components that make up resilience. First one being situational awareness, the second one adaptability, the third one resourcefulness, and the fourth one decisive leadership. Now, there's a lot involved in each of those, and I won't go into that right now. It's actually, we talk about it in one of our courses. I think the everyday explanation of what is resilience is it's the idea of bouncing back. And so if you go through something challenging, you fall down, how do you pick yourself up and keep moving forward? But we actually take that a step further, and when we're educating people around this, we say it's not just getting back up again, but it's also not falling down in the first place. So I use the example of, my son learning how to walk. In the beginning, all kids, they want to learn how to walk, they fall down, they get back up, they fall down, they get back up. But eventually they don't fall down so much anymore. And you learn to walk, and most adults can walk now without falling down most of the time. And that's kind of that idea of resilience as well. It's the preventative as well as the response to challenges. And so that can be developed. It's not something that we're born with a fixed amount of resilience and that's who we are. It's something that we nurture and build over time, just like a muscle. And one of the other terms that's really frequently used is emotional fitness, because that sort of taps into that idea of fitness. And you need, sometimes you need to go through challenges in order to grow that muscle, in order to build that emotional fitness. The other example I would give is if we talk about resilience from a physics perspective, it's the ability to withstand pressure. If you think about a metal bar or something, it's how much pressure can be put on this before it starts to bend, or how far can it bend before it breaks. And so that idea is sort of flexibility and adaptability. So to give an example of what resilience looks like out there in the world, I always think of the extreme examples, people who've been through something really traumatic, really difficult, and I remember seeing a TV interview with a guy who'd been held hostage for 12 years or something and had survived that without losing his mind, without going. I think that's a pretty good example of resilience, what most people would call resilience. Everyday resilience is, I think, being able to cope with more and more things without losing your mind, without getting stressed, without struggling emotionally. So you see people who go through life and, sure, problems arise, but it's never a problem for them. Things come up and they deal with it and they keep going forward, and it doesn't sort of register on the emotional radar. But the challenge with that is that then raises the question, well, do you need to be unemotional in order to be resilient? And I don't think that that's the case either, because if you didn't have emotions, you wouldn't really be human. You wouldn't be experiencing all the ups and downs of life. So